Hi there, my name's Daniel Ross, and I'm a voice actor, best known for the voices of Donald Duck from Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures, Starscream, Hound and Mixmaster from the 2007 Transformers video games, Lucky the Leprechaun from Lucky Charms cereal, and many more.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
You're watching In Conversation with Amber the Fangirl. It's magically delicious. Woohoo!
Hi guys! Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of In Conversation with ATF. Now, my guest is amazing. I've just had about a 20-minute conversation with him about Transformers and Disney and memories, and we didn't even hit record. But we're going to do it all over again because my guest is the voice of Donald Duck in Mickey Mouse's Mixed Up Adventures, Lucky the Leprechaun for Lucky Charms cereal, Starscream, Hound and Mixmaster for the Transformers video game. That's the 2007 movie. And he's just a great impressionist. He's a friend of many voice actors. And he's got the biggest Transformers collection I've ever seen. My guest is none other than Daniel Ross.
Hello, Amber. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It feels so strange getting the pleasantries out of the way formally since we've been talking for, again, like you said, the past 20 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
But what can I say?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I love your voices, Donald. I got it. Donald's always been my favourite.
Mine too.
Really? Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Proud Donald fan, definitely.
I've been a fan of Donald ever since I was a little kid. And I believe that was the very first voice I ever learned how to do.
I still
So
can't
probably
do it.
when I was like 3 or 4 years old, my mom taught me how to do it. And I've been quacking ever since.
My dad's tried to teach me how to do it. I just can't feel like, I can't do it. I can't do it. What's the easiest way to do it?
If they want to try to find the pocket of air, because it's a pocket of air that you're manipulating in your cheek, try to hiss like a cat. Move the back of your tongue to your cheek. And once you do that, you feel the sensation, then you just close it and isolate the pocket of air. And that's how you can do it. It takes practice.
I've never been able to do it. I'm still wondering why Daisy doesn't talk like that. Why does she talk normally and then just Donald just talks like that?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that one. But she used to.
Really?
Way back in the day, I think when Daisy
wow.
was first introduced, I believe Clarence Nash provided her voice.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Yes.
He also
Clarence
did the
Ducky
voice
Nash.
for Daffy, Huey, Dewey, and Louie as well. So I'm pretty sure initially, I think she had that voice, and then it was changed.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool though. Seriously, I have to ask now, this is probably a question that a lot of people probably ask you. I mean, do you do a lot of interviews just before I ask?
I do. If someone wants to talk to me, then I'm happy to talk to them back.
Nice ones. Does anyone ever ask you, how come you were cast as Donald Duck? Because obviously Tony Anselmo is the voice of Donald Duck. But in Mix Up Adventures, formerly Mickey and the Roaster Racers, I don't know why I got changed around. I don't know if Daniel knows. I don't know if Daniel knows. Who knows? But what happened? How come there was a different casting call for Donald Duck? Was Tony not available, or is that you can't say?
The answer to that is way above my pay grade. I'm just happy to be where I am and being a good steward for the character of Donald for as long as Disney lets me. I often say I'm borrowing the keys to the cabin cruiser. That's Donald's car in the show. So yeah, I'm happy to be doing it, and for whatever reason, that is well beyond me. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, that's a
Happy to be
logical
the
answer.
third person. Happy to be the third person to have ever quacked officially for Donald Duck.
That's a logical answer. I agree, definitely. So yes, you've done a lot of recording sessions. Are you doing the new Mickey Mouse Funhouse series, or is Tony taking on the role of Donald?
That's something I can't really talk about as of yet. In terms of like stuff in the future,
NDAs, yeah.
Yeah, us voice actors have this pesky thing called a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, NDAs.
So yeah, I can't really talk too much about that.
Oh, well, that's okay. At
I
least
can say there is a series called Mickey Mouse Funhouse. It's been announced, but
Yeah.
other than that,
I was talking
know
about it with
nothing.
Will Ryan. He's returning as Willie the Giant, so I just presumed it'll probably start the same cast as Roaster Mixed Up Adventures. So, yeah. Have you worked with Will Ryan? Have you ever had a scene with Willie the Giant in?
Not directly, no. But I love that character.
Yeah,
So
he's great.
I certainly hope our paths cross at some point.
He's lovely. I'll pass on your regards to him.
Please do.
We always keep it like you and Frank Welker. For those at home, we were talking before, and Daniel actually was a pen pal of Frank Welker for a while.
That's right. For a brief period of time, I reached out just to say hello and to inquire about voiceover, and he was very gracious with his time, and he answered my questions, and just was an absolute delight. And then I met him later in life as I was working,
it's a
because he
picture
was working
here.
on
It's a digital photo here. Ha
It was amazing. So we got to cross paths, and I brought up, that we had been pen pals, and it was so long ago I didn't expect him to remember, but it was just very nice to put a face to the name and to actually interact.
Wow! So he did remember after all.
Corey Burton remembered our time as pen pals together. Frank, again, I didn't anticipate that he would, so I didn't even ask. But I was just happy to meet him, and take a
that's
picture.
That's the most important part. That's the most important part. Just happy to do anything, really.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you get started initially as a voice actor?
Well, I never thought I would be a voice actor. I love the performing arts. I love entertainment. I love movies. I love theater, TV. And I always thought that was going to be my direction, that I was going to do a lot of on-camera stuff. And where I lived on the East Coast of the US in Maryland, there weren't that many opportunities. There were opportunities maybe to be an extra or a stand-in for films that were, visiting or coming and going. But it was very difficult to have a career doing that in the location that I lived. So as my career progressed, from theater to on camera to then film production, I started producing independent features so that I could star in them. I eventually caught the bug with voiceover because, as I mentioned in our prior conversation, going to conventions, Transformer conventions, and meeting the voice actors, discovering that these people were my tribe. These people were like me. They're quirky, they're strange, they're fun. They love what they do, and they make other people happy. And I'm like, we're all the same. We're all the same. So
yeah.
I was in love with voice actors around the time that I was really honing my skills as a voice actor. But in 2006, things took an interesting turn. I had submitted myself to audition for the Transformers movie that was coming out in 2007 with Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg. So I had a comic book created to send to them that featured me in a story with the Transformers, just as something outside of the box. And I got an audition. I was able to audition for the movie.
Wow.
It didn't work out. I didn't get the role in the movie, but then the video game company Activision contacted me and said, "Hey, would you like to read for a couple characters?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I would, please, and thank you." So yeah, and then I got the call, "Hey, you booked the role of Starscream." And that was the moment my life really changed, and I decided that voice acting was something that I really wanted to pursue.
Wow.
Because I just enjoyed it so much.
Who did you audition for the movie?
I think it was only Autobots. I think it was Ironhide, Ratchet, and Jazz.
I think Darius McClary was the voice of Jazz, Ratchet was Robert Foxworth, and Ironhide was Jess Hartnell.
That's right.
Yeah. And Charlie Adler was Starscream. Peter calling up
initially, from what I understood, the Decepticons were not going to speak in the first movie, and Starscream I think only had like one or two lines that I think they put in later.
And then Hugo Weaving was Megatron.
That's right. So Hugo, I think, was the only one that was allotted to be speaking, and then they changed it because we didn't have a voice reference when we went into our session. It was, we're discovering the voice for the first time, and it was interesting to me that my take was similar to Charlie Adler's, or at least our takes were very similar because we were emulating the character. And I think we both knew who that character was and were able to pull our own versions out. But we sounded very similar at the end of the day, and I thought that was interesting. Initially, when I booked the role, they wanted something very demonic, very scary, something that would frighten little children. So I came up with this breathy version of Starscream that sounded like this. Decepticons, retreat. Really scary, really testing on the voice.
Yeah.
And I get to the studio and they said, we just want a light British accent. And my inner fan, like my heart sank a little bit. And I said, so what you're telling me is you want Starscream to sound like this? And they're like, yeah, that's perfect. Please don't fire me, but no. No. So they're like, what you got? And just like that, it was Decepticons, this is Starscream. Make for the rendezvous point. The Allspark will soon be ours.
I watched your audition on YouTube. Yeah, I watched your audition on YouTube before. I was going to say, I watched it before you came into the Zoom.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's so cool as well. It's so, man, I'm jealous.
Yeah, for anybody curious, on YouTube, I recorded on the day. I was so excited. I recorded on the day a little bit of my recording session from Transformers. So there's a much younger me doing Starscream, which was so much fun.
Did you meet any of the voice actors from the game, or?
No. I recorded remotely in Maryland because everything was out here in Los Angeles. So that particular opportunity didn't arise. But as publicity for the game started to happen, I came out to California and I ran into Peter Cullen and I think
Frank Welker.
Encounter with Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox at one point. But yeah, that was about it.
But that's so weird though, how you met Frank Welker like very recently, but you were in the video game with him.
That's right. That happens all the time. All the time.
So that he didn't know.
Record remotely.
So Frank didn't know you were in the Transformers game with him.
No.
Wow.
And I wouldn't expect him to. It's only a certain type of individual has the capability of remembering everybody and anybody that they've ever worked with. And it's once the resume starts to build, it becomes much more difficult. As an example, like I watch every episode of Mickey and the Roadster Racers or the Tom and Jerry Show or anything that I work on specifically so that I can see the finished product, knowing what I did in the studio and learn from it. So
good call.
That's just me. I take it upon myself to do that, but I would never endeavor to try to remember everybody that was in the cast. That's just is too crazy for me.
Yeah. You were born in the 1980. Was that right?
That's correct.
So you grew up with the G1 Transformers then. So
yes, I
you
did.
grew up. Did you love a cartoon?
Oh yeah, I grew up with the cartoon and G.I. Joe and Thundercats and Mask and Ghostbusters and oh my gosh, that was my jam back in the day. And my very first movie that I ever saw in theaters with my dad was the Transformers movie in 1986.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was really something because Transformers came out in 84.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later we had the animated movie.
How did you feel about the death of Optimus Prime?
Like everybody else, completely traumatized. I was at I think it was TFCon here in Burbank a couple of years ago, and they had the writers who made that decision to kill Optimus Prime.
Flint Deal, I think he was one.
Yes. And it was a very interesting conversation with a room full of adult Transformer fans who grew up with this trauma, hearing about the writer who just casually killed off the character we all loved. It was a very interesting conversation that way, but funny to say the least, especially when you see things through adult eyes.
Yeah, and that's crazy though, how like you grew up watching the cartoon and with all these voice actors, and then you end up becoming Starscream yourself. Did you ever
that was pretty crazy to me.
Did you ever take inspiration from Chris Latta's voice of Starscream?
Absolutely. Chris Latta, Decepticons! Retreat! I mean,
that's a good one. They should have used that for the game.
I offered it. I auditioned that way. I did lots of fan dubs back in the day as Starscream, and
Did
it
you?
was a lot
Wow.
of fun. But here's an interesting story. So I went to a Transformers gathering. I was invited to this event up in uh, uh, back where I'm from, and the guy who was putting it on, he wanted me to sign some stuff for him, and I was happy to sign some things. And he brought out a vinyl record of the soundtrack from the Transformers animated movie, 1986, and it was signed by everybody. And he hands it to me with a pen, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, I can't. What do you want me to do with this? It's beautiful. What do you want me to do? And he wants me to sign it, and I said I can't. I didn't work on this. And he said I never got Chris Latta's autograph. So
Oh.
I've been to Starscream, and I'd love for you to do that. And my inner fan was like, "This is sacrilege. You cannot touch this with your signature. You don't belong here." But at the same time, I was looking at him, and he was so earnest and eager for me to do that for him. So I wrote for Chris, and then I autographed it.
Oh,
And
so
I was telling this story here in Los Angeles, outside of the Hollywood Improv, after Rob Paulson's Talking Tunes one night. And I'm telling this conversation in a semicircle of people.
yeah.
And the girl right across from me is crying. She started crying. And I'm thinking, oh, it's a sweet story or whatever, but she's really crying. And I'm like, what's going on? And the person next to me said, that's Chris's daughter. That's Abby.
Abby, love Abby. She's brilliant.
So she and I hugged. We hugged it out.
So that's how
So
you
good.
met.
She's such a good friend. I love her. She's part of my Green Giraffes voiceover troupe that we occasionally get together and do stuff with. And that was it was such a sweet moment to be able to have that with his daughter.
So that's how you two met then?
That's right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
I'm not sure if you've heard the story of how she went to a BotCon in 2012 to accept her dad into the Transformers Hall of Fame. She took her son with, I think, Liam. He's about nearly 9, 10 now. He had this, I've seen photos, just this cute little baby girl saying Starscream's grandson, Cobra Commander's grandson. Oh my God.
Amazing, huh?
My heart.
Amazing. Such a small world.
You just think, oh, if Chris could just see his grandson, that would be amazing.
I know. So I did my best as a voice actor and as a fan. I did my best to try to emulate Chris, while still making it something new, because it had to be something new. It had to be something new for the movies, and I understood that challenge. But I took inspiration a little bit from Alec Willows and his version of Tarantulas in Beast Wars. And tried to mix that with a little bit of Starscream and a little bit of me, and that's just what came out. So I'm happy with it all these years later.
Oh, wow, that's a lovely story. That's really made my night, that has. I can't stop smiling, my cheeks hurt, but I've got to keep smiling.
Mission accomplished!
Yay! Oh, man. Ooh. Oh, man, I can't stop smiling. When you just, you like, a story is just so infectious and you just start smiling like that, and you're just like, I know I can't stop, but I've got to stop. No, I can't stop.
That happens to me all the time. I know.
Oh, it's such a lovely story. I'm actually planning on getting Abby on this interview series.
You should.
Talking about Chris. And if hopefully all goes well, her brother Ben could be joining her as well. Because there's a famous story of when if Chris went to Ben's softball game and he's cheering, and the way he was cheering was like very high pitched, so a lot of kids recognized him as Starscream. And apparently he was a coach of his game, like his softball games at one point, so he would coach a Starscream. He would like, run, or the Decepticons will get you, run, child. So
my God,
that would have been so funny, just to run. He's like, no, can't actually hurt, bro.
Amazing. Yeah, I'd feel the same way if he was my coach. Oh my gosh.
You just call it the Chris Latta special when I get Abby and Ben on. Just so exciting. I'll tell Abby you said hi, by the way. So
please do.
We'll do. Oh, there's a lot of people. You have so many connections.
Right? Again, small world.
Yeah, very, very small world. Just a random question. Have you ever been to England?
I have not, and it's on my bucket list. I want to. I think I'm waiting because my work is here right now, and I don't travel as much as I would like.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a convention to invite me, so that I can explore and do two things at once. But really, it's up to the convention goers to let the conventions know, hey, we want Daniel Ross. Bring Daniel Ross, and then they get in touch with my convention promoters, and magic
I really
happens.
want to tell the people who are doing the Liverpool and Edinburgh ones I'm going to.
Oh yeah, I have a friend who grew up in Edinburgh.
Really? Oh, I completely forgot to say. Oh my gosh. You know how I said who the guests at Liverpool were, like Ron Perlman, Patrick Warburton, Fred Tatasciore?
Yeah.
The Edinburgh one has Frank and Peter going as guests this year.
Oh my, they're a ride together.
If I can, because I'm gonna try and suggest you to them to get you to the Scotland one. Because to see you, Frank and Peter, that'd be just amazing. And it'd be lovely to meet you in person.
You would have Optimus, Megatron, and Starscream. I mean, what could go wrong?
And what's even better is that they're arranging some sort of private meet and greet with Frank and Peter. It's about 30 minutes, but the price.
If you look online, there was an interview that I did with both Frank and Peter many years ago when Revenge of the Fallen came out in theaters.
Really?
I used to help run a message board called the All Spark, and so I would do interviews with celebrities and other voice actors, and I would do them as a character. I did the character of Rook, who was a news reporter, and Rook used to sound like this. So I would do my interviews and talk to my guests, and it was a wonderful time. And so I would do character interviews in both the character and the actor, and that was just so much fun. And yeah, I got to do one with Frank and Peter, and they were hilarious.
Oh wow, that's lovely. I've met Frank 3 times, once in person in Liverpool and twice virtually. I've met Peter only once, which is once virtually. I didn't see him in Liverpool. His queue was too big. My social anxiety just went through the roof. I don't want to wait that long. I don't like queues. I don't like it. Actually, no, hang on. Oh no, I had a disabled pass, so I could skip the queue, but I don't know why I didn't say it. I guess I just hate a minute. I just probably wasn't that interested in Peter as Frank. I'm sorry, don't kill me. No, I'll love them both. And I hope to spend as much time as I can with them in Scotland.
I hope so too.
Yeah,
my
definitely.
fingers and toes are crossed for you.
Let's talk about Lucky, the leprechaun for Lucky Charms.
Ooh.
Yeah, so how did you get the gig of Lucky?
So I always tell people that I got lucky. I have my one pop figure, which is of Lucky the Leprechaun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got lucky. So when I moved to Los Angeles in 2014, I packed up my car, I drove cross country to be here, and I had my job, which was overnights at the time, working 10 p.m. until 8 a.m., 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. It was the truck loading process and unloading and, stocking the shelves and managing the employees. It was a grueling job that I had, and I was very eager to get away from it. But it offered me my days free so that I could audition, I could go to parties, I could network, I could do lunch, I could do all those, typical Hollywood things without having to worry about juggling my job. But there came a time where I started to book more frequently with voiceover, and I was eager to get rid of that job and do it full time. So when I finally decided, okay, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks, I'm going to leave this job, I'm just going to pursue voiceover. I'm driving off the parking lot at 8 o'clock in the morning. I finished my last shift, said my goodbyes after working for Target for over 10 years. And my agent called and said, you booked Lucky. So that was my sign from above that I was doing what I needed to do.
And then a high-pitched scream was heard from a local Target parking lot about 5 miles away from the nearest news station.
Yeah, so that kind of happened, and then I voiced Lucky for about 2 years.
What's up?
I think they were mostly international spots, but I'm one of 6 people who I think have voiced Lucky in his 57 years being a serial mascot.
Wow. I was going to say, we do Lucky Charms over here. I've had them before. Oh my gosh, they are amazing. I think there is a version.
Very difficult to find.
Are they? Oh wow. They're in my local pound shop. They have little sort of plastic bowls and they have, sort of thing. But I've heard there's a marshmallows only version of it. I really
Yes,
want it
there
because
is.
the marshmallows are the best part of it. I just have to have a
I
marshmallow
used
in
to
every
pick
single
out the
bite.
marshmallows when I was a little kid. I used to pick them all out, and then I would ball them up, and I would eat the ball. And then afterwards, because of all the artificial colors, my hands would look like I murdered a unicorn. It was amazing. It was tasty as heck, but it was a little scary.
I just love how the marshmallows feel in my mouth because it's like kind of like crunchy, but at the same time like kind of soft, and they're just all kind of like, it's hard to describe the taste. Well, not the taste,
I
sorry,
could
the feeling
describe
of
them
it.
very easily with 2 words.
Yeah.
Magically delicious.
Yay! Oh man, you're making me hungry.
Okay, we're done.
You're making me hungry for cereal now. I have to get a box of Lucky Charms. I have to. You make me.
Yeah. When I went in for those sessions, they were very adamant that they wanted me to emulate Doug Preece, who was Arthur Anderson was the original voice of Lucky. Doug Preece, I think, was the second and longest running voice. So that was my job, to emulate him as best as possible. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and it was my first really big job here in Los Angeles, a recurring, big job here in Los Angeles. And I was over the moon with that.
Wow. So you moved to Los Angeles in about 2014?
Correct.
Oh, wow. So, wow.
We just hit 7 years. It's been 7 years.
Oh, wow. Time does fly fast, honestly.
Right.
I'm 17 now, getting older. And I need to get more voice work. I mean, I've come up with a voice reel. I need to send it off to different people. Oh, man, so good.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do,
Yeah.
Especially if you're passionate about it.
Yeah. I mean, the UK voiceover business is quite different to the US one. I mean, we've not got Tara Strongs, Frank Welkers, or anything like that. It's really just a case of dubbing, or the very small chance that there's an original animation from the UK. And also we really just book on-camera actors to do the voices, like David Tennant, Benedict Cumberbatch, anyone who's in British sitcoms or anything like that.
Oh, did you say David Tennant?
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite. He was my favorite Doctor from Doctor Who.
Oh, is he? He's in the new DuckTales as well.
That's right. He's Uncle Scrooge.
Yes, indeed.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely. What time is it now? We could wrap up with a really good question. Maybe we could wrap up. Well, I want to wrap up by asking you one more question, and then obviously I do the outro, the promo stuff, and then obviously, just like that.
Sure.
So who was the most famous person you've worked with? It doesn't have to be in the same recording studio. It could be if you're in the same game or TV show as them.
I look at the word famous, as a subjective term, because people are people. And I initially when I first started in the industry, the entertainment industry, it was always cool to meet a celebrity because you don't see celebrities very often. And moving here to Los Angeles, I've met all of my idols. I've become friends with many of them. They're people to me.
I want to do that.
So when someone says, like, who is the most famous person you've ever worked with, I could come up with a list of names, but nobody sticks out in my mind as quote unquote super famous. I will say this: there was one time I lost my composure because I was a little bit starstruck, and that was John Travolta. I was working on a movie called Ladder 49. Way back in the day. That was with Joaquin Phoenix, Jay Hernandez, Morris Chestnut, and Robert Patrick, and several others. And I was Joaquin Phoenix's stand-in for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So on the last day of filming with John Travolta, he's standing right next to me. We're outdoors. We're on this set with a giant building that had been on fire, and lots of different people on set, and people are coming over to congratulate him, and he's literally standing right next to me. And I thought to myself, I'm like, Daniel, you haven't been able to say hi to him. You've only got one opportunity. Just say hello. Just say hello. So I waited for my moment. I jumped in with a handshake, and I said, Mr. Travolta, it was so great seeing you perform. You were just wonderful, and I loved every second of it. And he's shaking my hand, but he's looking at me like, and I'm like, I forgot to say who I am, and immediately I lost my composure. And I'm like, oh, my name's Daniel. And he goes, well, Daniel, thank you for your hard work on the film, and good luck to you. And I'm like, yeah, you too, man. Yeah. And I proceed to go behind a fire truck and shove my fist in my mouth and go, ah! So that only happened because I lost my composure. I wouldn't have had the same reaction, but he caught me off guard. So
Aw, that's a lovely story to wrap up on, though. I definitely.
I will say this: I love being able to work in the voiceover industry and the entertainment industry and meet the people behind these voices. Because as I mentioned before, voice actors are some of the nicest, kindest, most humble, creative, fun-loving people you will ever meet. I say that without thinking of myself, but other voice actors really inspired me because of who they are. And anytime I get to be in the same studio with somebody with amazing credits behind their name, it's just a dream come true.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Daniel. You've been amazing to talk to. Whereabouts can we find you? Pardon? What did you say, sorry?
Oh, I just said thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
If you would like to find me on the internet, and I hope you will, please find me across social media under the handle Actor Daniel Ross. I've made it very easy for you. Actor Daniel Ross across everything. And my website is actordanielross.com. If anybody would like to learn about voiceover, I do offer one-on-one coaching sessions with people through my website. Also autographs, if anyone would like an autographed print, that's all available online as well. So please do follow me and check out my TikTok. I have a lot of fun on TikTok these days.
Oh, nice one. That's so cool. I already follow you on everything, so I will keep following you, of course. Follow me.
And for my friends across the pond, I am on the app highdolls.com, which is kind of like Cameo here in the States. So that service is available for my friends across the pond.
Okay. I've never heard of that before. I might have to check it out, actually.
Please do. It's pretty cool.
I will. Of course I will. To you at home, thank you so much for watching this episode. Daniel, you've been absolutely amazing. You've been one of the most energetic people I've ever met. I could not stop smiling at all.
Like I said, mission accomplished. If I can make some people smile in this world, then hey, make it just a little bit better, then I feel good.
Definitely. So, to you at home, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out more episodes if I release them in the future. And yes, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you around. Bye. And cut.